already got her ticket in September before we knew she was getting a car. So she went ahead and flew back so she could be back in time to do what she had to do with her team. And so I had to work on Friday. And so after I taught class, after I finished teaching, I packed my stuff up and I left Friday night. So it is now Saturday. In the last video I explained how I drove about 7 hours. I stopped in Columbus, Ohio, got a hotel, stayed there for a few hours to get some rest, and then got back on the road. I got there about 4 o'clock, then got back on the road at 10:30. So I got some hours of sleep and was able to get up and do the last leg of this trip. And then I will fly home tomorrow. I'm just driving Knox. If you've seen in previous videos, she has named her car Knox. I'll put a picture of them here. She has named her car Knox, and so I'm driving Knox to Illinois so that she can have her car. So while I'm, on this long road trip, I decided to talk about a few things. So this week, because it's Saturday, January 8th. So this week, between the COVID percentages surging in my area, I live in Maryland, and the weather that we had this week, it was a crazy week in terms of teachers. Okay. So in my district, and I know that a lot of the districts in our area in Maryland, we had to change up this week because, it was just a lot going on between those two things. So prior to this week, I would say, I think it was December 20th in my district was when the students went virtual. Okay, so that means the students went home, and we were using Zoom to teach classes, but the teachers had to teach from our classroom. So we still had to go to work, we still had to go in our classroom, and we had to teach virtually from our classroom. So that took place starting December 20th, and then that was the 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. The 23rd, we had a half day, 3-hour early dismissal half day, and that was it for the Christmas break. On the 23rd, there was some police, y'all, so I had to look. So the 23rd, the half a day on the 23rd, took us into Christmas break. All right, so we were supposed to come back to school January 3rd, which was this Monday. Okay, it's Saturday, so I'm talking about this week on Monday. So what happened was we got some snow. Okay, of course the weather forecast told us we were having snow, but a lot of people in our area, when the forecasters say, oh, you're going to get a lot of snow, because of what has happened in the past few years, we haven't really gotten like a big surge of snow. A lot of people in our area don't really believe it. So we did know that snow was coming, but we did not know that it was going to come with a little bit of a vengeance like it did. So it came, and so that meant on Monday and Tuesday our district shut down due to the weather. I don't think anybody was prepared in terms of those that take care of the roads, and that's the main roads as well as like the neighborhood roads. So what happened in many neighborhoods is that after the snow came, number one, there was no treatment prior to the snow coming. So you know how in your neighborhoods, you'll see the snow plows or the salt trucks, going through, and you might see snow plows like planted, parked at different places. That did not happen. So when we, I can't remember what day it actually snowed, but on Monday morning the snow was here. And so because the road crews did not prepare, there was no way that we could get out. Okay, there was no way that we could get out. There was no way we could go to school. The school parking lots had not even been plowed in my area. So there was no way that that was going to happen. So school was shut down on Monday. So it was actually closed. So there was no virtual learning or anything like that. Now, I think part of the reason that was the case was because knowing that the students went virtual, a great number of teachers requested that we also be able to teach virtually. If the students are home, why can't teachers be home? So that was the viewpoint of a lot of teachers. But we were denied that request. So we had to teach from the classroom. So because we had to teach from the classroom, when school was closed on Monday, that means because of the weather, we cannot get to the school to get our laptops or anything like that. Those that left their laptops at school. In terms of the way I do things, I always bring my laptop home. Just because I tend to do a lot of planning on the weekend. So like Saturday, I normally, if I have something to do, it'll be during a certain part of the day on Saturday. And then the rest of Saturday, I'm planning, whether that's in the morning for a large part or in the evening. Normally it's in the evening, just depending on what's going on. And so for me, I always, for that reason, I bring my laptop home. That way, and I try to do a lot of planning on the weekend. So that way during the week, I'm not stuck every night staying up late trying to get my plans together for the next day. Sometimes that happens, but I try to stay away from that. And I know some teachers, I've looked at different teacher tuber videos, and some teachers don't do any work on the weekends. They only do it during the weekend. And I get it. I get the mentality. But I think for me as a first year teacher, I'm the type of person, like, I'm trying to build my foundation, like for my lesson plans, and the actual lessons, like the slides and the different activities and all that type of stuff. So like I've said in prior videos, I don't mind this year doing the grunt work. I don't mind spending a lot of extra time this year to lay my foundation so that next year, I have that foundation to build off of. So I definitely don't mind putting the extra work in right now. So that's what I do. But like I said, there are teachers who, we have to teach from our classroom. So I'm not bringing, my laptop or, whatever home during the weekend. So that's what happened in a lot of cases. Another thing that happened, so this is the third piece to this puzzle as to, why it just wasn't going to work with the weather, was because of the weather. Some people, I'm not going to say a lot, but because of the weather, some people's electricity was down. Okay? So if the power goes out, you can't teach virtually either. So, saying all that to emphasize that Monday, my district was shut down. And I know a lot of districts around, mine closed as well. So then we were trying to figure out what was going to happen on Tuesday. If the plows didn't come through Monday, by Monday night, all that's going to happen Monday night into early Tuesday morning is that it's the snow that fell is going to ice over. Okay? It's going to ice over. So, how are we supposed to get out? How are we supposed to go to the school? Have the schools been plowed on Tuesday? For Tuesday, no. That didn't happen in some areas. So Tuesday, the district decided that we would also be closed again. So many teachers were not complaining. I know I wasn't complaining because I was on the heels of our week-long winter break. We had 2 extra days. So I definitely did not complain. I was just so glad to get the 2 days of extra rest, 2 days extra to plan. And actually, because we were shut down those 2 days, I had to then decide how to modify my lesson plans, because okay, we're coming back from winter break. We're virtual. So, you know, when you're teaching virtual, or for me, let me speak for me. When I'm teaching virtual, you know, you have to do things a little bit differently. Maybe modify the activities, modify the lessons a little bit. It's not that you have to do a completely different lesson, but, you know, you have to modify because you're on Zoom. And so that gave me, knowing that we were closed on Monday and really anticipating that we would also be closed on Tuesday because of the weather and because of the lack of preparedness on the roads. You know, I figured we might be closed on Tuesday too. So that kind of gave me time to look at the directives that were then finally given from my school, my principal, which was that on Wednesday we have what we call WOW Wednesdays, where we use that to review and reinforce, you know, different skills and lessons that, you know, have been taught prior to that day, and just give some extra, you know, intervention and extra help for those that need it. So, you know, we did modify for WOW Wednesday, and I struggle with, do I do the reinforcement and reinforcement and you know, readjust WOW Wednesday to include like regular lessons, because, you know, we're now 2 days off of the curriculum pacing, you know, so it's kind of like curriculum pacing versus you know, what do my students need. So I kind of had time those 2 days to kind of readjust a little bit, and then the directive from my principal was to do small groups on Wednesday. All right, so we had to do, that was the directive. So I went ahead and, you know, made sure I had the small group, you know, lessons ready. I have to say that as the more I do small groups, I enjoy it, and I definitely see the benefits of it. I always knew there were benefits to small groups, like I know that. But in terms of working with my group, my class, my group of students, I can definitely see the progress and the benefits as a result of small groups. So it is encouraging me, you know, as I continue small groups each week with my students. So I felt proud, you know, of them. Certain students that were, I can see that they're reading better. I can see that they're in small groups. I've said this in another video. There are some students that might be shy, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And in small groups, they feel more at ease because they're not reading in front of a whole class or answering questions in front of a whole class or trying to figure something out using their reasoning skills and critical thinking skills in front of the whole class. It may be, you know, 3 or 4 students, and then because we're virtual, not all those students show up. So one student that I always think about in particular is super, super shy, like the most shy student in my class. During her reading group session, nobody else came on but her. So she really was able to, you know, I was able to engage with her. She was able to engage with the story that we read. You know, and she was, you know, not afraid to, you know, sound out the words and break, you know, different words down, break the sounds down. And, you know, she was actually very excited because, you know, she was reading better. She could tell that she was reading better. So, you know, when it's encouraging to a teacher as well as to a student when you see that progress being made. So, so that encouraged me to delve even deeper into, you know, small group lessons. We use, for reading, in terms of extra support, iReady. For math, we use Dreambox. But in one of our collaborative planning sessions, I also learned, I didn't know this before, but I learned that iReady also has a math component. All right, so there are a lot of small groups, instructional guides and lessons and quizzes and different activities and stuff like that in iReady for math. So I guess our district doesn't have full access to the math. I don't know what's going on with that, but that's one of the things that is on my list to do is to pull more of those math small group lessons and utilize those on small group times for math. And so those will be on Wednesdays. So anyway, so we were shut down Monday, shut down Tuesday. And then Wednesday we went back to virtual learning. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we had class via Zoom. But the wonderful thing about this week was that our district then decided that teachers could teach virtually. So we did not, some of us still could not go to the schools because although by that time the main streets might have been clear in some areas to a certain degree, you still, personally in my neighborhood, I was up late one day planning, I forgot what day it was, it might have been Tuesday because the first snow day was Monday. They did not come Monday. So this had to be, I think, Tuesday night, late Tuesday night. They still had not come through. So I'm at the desk, in my little office space, and it's right by the window. So I can see if somebody comes in the cul-de-sac, and I can hear, the big snow plows, they're heavy, and you can hear them coming down the street. So I heard it come, so I looked out the window. And so it drove in the cul-de-sac, turned around, and drove right back out the cul-de-sac. I guess you're just not going to clean this cul-de-sac. I guess you're not going to, push the snow to the side. I guess you're just not going to do that. So if that happened in my little piece of the neighborhood, that made me question whether, and of course that was one driver, but that made me question, the neighborhoods, the safety of the neighborhoods. I still did not feel safe coming out Wednesday. So I was so glad that, we were virtual for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So that just, I was satisfied with that decision. And for me, I think because it was so much mentally, although we had Monday and Tuesday to prepare, like I said, mentally trying to figure out how to modify lessons and stuff like that, because you're thinking pacing. In many situations, that's what is brought to your attention all the time. Where are you in the curriculum? How, are you on pace? Where are you compared to the other team teachers? Where are you compared to the curriculum pacing guide? And so with everything that's been happening, with 2 days off pace now, even more off pace than I was before, that kind of weighed on me. Like, what can I do? How am I going to do this to try to keep them as on pace, as possible? So I think I was happy with how I was able to modify. But the other part, the downsides of virtual is that there are some students that don't take it seriously. So from December 20th, when we were virtual, I have a number of students who have not shown up to class since December 20th. Okay, that was the first virtual day for students. I have a number of students who have not shown up. I've sent messages to parents, trying to get in contact with parents, and parents don't respond, whatever. Now we have, with our district, we have some software where we can see when they're online, like when they're using their school device, we can see when they're online. Now some of these students are on YouTube and all of that, so I'm shutting down their YouTube, within the software, and sending them messages like, you're supposed to be in class. If you can be on YouTube, you can log on to Zoom and be in class. But that's not, they're not doing that. So then they would shut their computer down, just turn it off. They went offline because I had sent them a message, but they did not log on to class. So I sent messages to, or you have students who, and what I do every day, so there will be no question, even though there still are questions, but every day I post in my Google Classroom, this is the schedule for the day. So in the morning, I post before school starts, this is the schedule for today, all right? And then I normally, at the end of the day, I tell my students, I go over the schedule for the next day. So we've already talked about it, but then I put the schedule in Google Classroom so that way parents can go in there and look if they want to, and obviously students can go in there and look. So I just tell them whatever announcement there may be. I give them the schedule for the day, and then I put the link, my Zoom link, so that way it's easy for them to just click and get into the Zoom link. So even with that, parents act like, and some students act like they don't even see that, So in addition to a few students who have not shown up virtually at all, there are some students who show up when they want to. So like I said, on Wednesdays, when we have Wow Wednesdays and it's small groups, okay, so there's work that's posted in Google Classroom. And so when it's not your group time, I put in the schedule and I put in group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, because I have 4 of them, and I put the names of each student that, is associated with each group. So there's no question, okay? I see my name, this is the time that I have to log in. And then I explain to them, and I also put it within the body of the post that goes along with the schedule, that there is work posted in Google Classroom. So while you are not in your group session with me, there is work that still needs to be completed in Google Classroom. All right, so I asked, you guys understand? Do you guys hear what I said? What did I say? And I'll have somebody repeat back, we log on when it's our time for our group, and then when we're not logged on, we have to do our work, and then what I have for homework is some Dreambox and iReady lessons, because the majority of the work that they get graded on is normally classwork, and it's done, during the day in class. Trying to alleviate, parents having to help so much with homework at home. I try to do all of the, so mostly classwork, and then of course assessment and quiz grades are done during the day as well. So trying to alleviate parents having to, I get it, working parents, everybody's busy, whatever. So I'm trying to do that. So for my parents, what I ask them to help the students with is, help them to read, or, help them with some of the like multiplication, because I teach 3rd grade. So, we've already gone over the introduction to multiplication. Currently we're on geometry, so like 2-dimensional shapes and all of that. So, parents at home can help with reinforcing those concepts. Of course we have addition, like we just started perimeter. So finding the perimeter of shapes, adding all of the sides together. So that means they need to know how to add. Some of my students, because of the pandemic and like being virtual for, I guess almost 2 years and all of that, some of them don't know how to, add. Even, small numbers, it's difficult for them. So they needed extra support at the beginning of this year. So we were making some headway. But, these are common mathematical concepts that even though, they don't have specific homework to do at home other than Dreambox and iReady, these are concepts that can be encouraged at home. In certain cases, that's not done. Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, that's not done. So if there is no school, there is no help. If there is no school, there's no encouragement in many cases to do anything academic, no type of critical thinking, nothing. So what I tried to do, at one point I printed out like a multiplication chart, and all of that, and laminated it, so they could take it and use it, because we're not at the point for a number of students where, they know all of their multiplication facts. I suggested to some parents, to even go to Dollar Tree and get some of the multiplication flashcards, and even some addition flashcards, so that they can, do those things at home and reinforce those concepts at home, for that extra support. So with the 2 days being out, on the heels of winter break, We had people, coming back off of after that week and 2 days since we were out Monday and Tuesday. And some students, would show up when they want to. One student in particular, the parent said, "Oh, my student said I'm trying to confirm the schedule because my student said, she showed up to small groups, but like she didn't get credit for this and that we had done that day." So I told her, I said, "Well, the schedule is posted, for parents, for students to see." And I screenshotted the schedule, the schedule that I put, that I posted, and sent it to the parent. And then of course I didn't hear anything back, after that. But also, that was another student that was on YouTube. And so I shut her YouTube down and sent her a message that, you're supposed to be in class. And so she went offline and she did not come to class. So, I think as a teacher, it's frustrating when the students are at home. That's the downside to it, because when they're at home, then they kind of just do what they want to do. That's my son. Okay, so I'll finish this video and call him back. Bubs, I know you're going to see this, so I'll call you back shortly. So that's the downside as a teacher to that. They get home and they can kind of do what they want to do. Another issue that I had with virtual learning is, okay, if lunch is from 12 to 1, and that means we're in class and we're getting some work done while we're in class, but you're in the camera at 11 o'clock eating lunch. So that means you're not paying attention to what we're doing in class. You're not doing your work. Because what I try to do with classwork is, of course, I model things, within teaching, I model it for them. We have the model or the structure like I do, we do, you do. So I will model it for you, then we'll do something together, and then you have something to do independently. So, I'm doing all that. And then even because I have, for the third grade classes that I teach, I have the lowest level of third graders. So what I try to do is, even when we get out of the we do part to the you do, the independent work, there are a few students that can do the majority of what, is assigned independently. But then there are some that, cannot. They need that extra support. So even some of the independent stuff, I'll end up doing with some of those students. And then like the last few, they will try to do independently. But if you're, eating, full scale eating lunch on Zoom, full scale, like I see your whole lunch. I can tell you everything you ate, full scale lunch at 11 or 11:15. But then we have lunch from 12 to 1, so you're going to take 2 lunches? So sometimes I say things on Zoom so that the parents can hear. I, make general comments so that the parents can hear. So you're going to take a double lunch? So, are you going to take your 12 to 1 lunch to get your work done? And that's not the case. Okay? If we get off of Zoom for 12 to 1 for lunch, they're not going to do their work. They're not going to do it. So how are you, going to take a lunch while we on Zoom and then take the assigned lunch? So it's stuff like that that can be aggravating as a teacher. I just don't understand it. And then when those students need help, it's like, but you weren't paying attention at all to, what we were doing in class. Of course, I'm teaching, I'm modeling. And then the part where we get to we do, your classmates are giving input and we're solving together and we're having a discussion about things together, and you're not paying attention to any of that. And then when it gets to the point where you have to do something individually, you don't know what's going on. And not only that, you don't get it done. Don't get it done. Oh, I didn't know what to do. Well, I know why you didn't know what to do. So this is the downside for me. This is my opinion in terms of the downside of virtual learning. There's pros and cons to just about everything, upside, downside to just about everything. So, that's what I'm thinking about. We're a little bit behind as it is, and even in trying to catch up, virtual learning, is a vice that can work against you in terms of trying to stay on pace or catching up. So anyway, like I said, I'm on the road to Illinois. I have probably under 3 hours left. When I get to Illinois, I have brought my laptop with me. So I might do some work tonight. I probably will do some work tonight. Just some lesson planning, because that's what I normally do on the weekends. Because I don't have to drive back. That means I don't have to, sleep the whole time I'm there in order to be rested to drive back. So I'll do some work tonight and I'll do some work tomorrow. Malia has practice tomorrow as well, which is Sunday. So I'll probably sleep a little late and then, get up, and while she's at practice, get some work done. So yeah, that's my, my recap of events from this week for school. 2 days closed, Monday and Tuesday, and then virtual learning Wednesday through Friday. So hopefully, next week will also be virtual for students, but as of right now, teachers have to go back into the classroom. We're expected to go back into the classroom starting on Monday. So even though the COVID, numbers are surging in our area, our Governor Hogan, has declared a state of emergency, which was, I think it was January 4th or something like that, the very beginning of this week, I believe. So that was Tuesday, I think. So it was either the 3rd or the 4th, he declared a state of emergency due to the surging numbers of positive cases in our state. So the teachers would love to be able to teach from home. Prior to the state of emergency being declared by the governor, our district had the students to go home for virtual learning until January 18th. So now that there's a state of emergency in play, I guess I'm waiting to see, will the virtual date be extended, because they're supposed to be, students are supposed to be back in the classroom for physical learning on January 18th. So will that be extended because there's a state of emergency, and because there, have been a lot of outbreaks in different schools, not just in my district, but in other districts in our area? That's the frustrating part about being a teacher right now. A lot of times we're the last to be thought of. So during this pandemic, the safety of teachers feels like it's one of the last priorities on the list. And teachers are getting COVID left and right. Not just students, there are students that are testing positive as well, but teachers are getting COVID left and right. And it's, it's like we still have to do all these things, go above and beyond, constantly being pushed to go even more above and beyond than, what you're currently doing, constantly being stretched. But this is the life of a teacher. And I knew that going in, because again, this is my first year, I knew that going in, but, it's just crazy. It's crazy. It gets worse and worse and worse as the pandemic, gets worse, as the cases surge. The expectation of a teacher, every modification that has to be made by the teacher. There are not many modifications that have to be made, by parents and students, and that's the frustrating part. It's like, in any situation, what can the teacher do to make this happen? What can the teacher do to fix the situation? What can the teacher do? In many instances, is never considered what should the parent do, or what should the student do. and we all modify to make the best of the situation. I feel for teachers who have young students themselves, their own young children in addition to their students. I'm so grateful. There's no way I would have been able to do this while my kids were students, like while they were young, while they were in school, especially with young kids. There's no way. So like, I'm praying for all teachers around this country who have their own children in school, especially elementary, because, as a parent, you have to help them. That's the state where you have to help them a lot, because they're learning the foundational concepts, basic skills, and all of that, that will be built upon in middle and high school. So I'm praying for everybody as it pertains to this, and just praying for all teachers as we are stretched more and more thin. I see how more and more teachers are retiring, more and more teachers are leaving this profession due to the mental stress and strain of this whole situation, because teachers are the last on the list to be considered. Some people cannot take that. Some people cannot just take that. And some people, when they have young children, they're being stretched so thin that by the time they get home to their own children, they don't have much left. And that's not fair. Teachers are humans too. Teachers have families too. And I just don't believe that is considered. So that is what has happened this week. That is the preview also for next week. Teachers are supposed to be back in the building, and it's supposed to be the last week of virtual learning for students, but we shall see what happens. Now that a state of emergency has been declared for the state of Maryland. But if you have lasted to the end of this video, I know I was doing a lot of talking. I just wanted to share with you, how the week went, and what's going to be happening going into next week. If there are any changes that are made, we're waiting to see. Normally we find out modifications on Saturday or Sunday. Of course, because I'm on the road, I'm not paying attention to my emails. Now my mom is calling me. I'm not paying attention to my school emails or anything like that. I guess I'll look at some point when I get to Illinois and get to my daughter's apartment to see if anything has been decided yet. But normally it's like Saturday night into Sunday night when you'll get updates if there are any changes. But as of right now, teachers have to go into the building on Monday. So anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here so that I can share with you. I appreciate you viewing my videos. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you want to share this video, if you know any teachers that feel some type of way, or may want to engage with this video, you can leave a comment below. You can share the video, subscribe to the channel so that you can see how my first year of teaching is going. I just wanted to share, how my transition from parent to teacher is going. Share my thoughts about different things that happened over the course of my first year, and share some other life things that go on, like couponing. You meet my kids and see what's going on with them. But you can also click that notification bell, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be among the first to know. So again, thank you for watching, and